Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. So first off, a shout out to Hannah. Hey Hannah, out in far western Kansas. And I guess I'd like to also thank Scott out in the Pacific Northwest. Thank you. Rangers lead the way. I appreciate all the help you're giving to this ministry and what we do out here. So I ran into a friend the other day, and I found out that he had gotten together with two other of my old friends, and they had formed a mutual assistance group, a MAG, a survival team, call it what you want. They're getting together, they're training, they're making plans, they're taking steps, and that pleased me greatly. And one of the things they did and are doing is they bought a couple CUCVs. That's like the Army version, in this case the Army version, of the Chevy Blazer. And they were building them up and putting them together and using them as bug out vehicles. Good project, lots of fun, things to do as a team, right? Get together and wrench on vehicles. And so that got me thinking about standardization. There is a time and a place for standardization, and I submit to you that that time and that place is with groups and teams and mags and communities and things like that. The problem is, however, that Americans, one of our strengths is also one of our weaknesses. We're all very individualistic, right? We're all about me. Yes, I'm going to self-actualize and do all that stuff. And so to that end, we like our toys because we think our toys are an expression of ourselves, right? Example, firearms. You know, a firearm is basically a tool, and across broad categories, it really doesn't matter which one you have, especially for the average person, because they can't shoot, different firearms with any degree of different accuracy anyway. But example, handguns. What's the best handgun? You want to start an argument? You want me to get, 500,000 hits? I'll do a video on the Glock versus the SIG. Everybody would watch it and everybody would comment because everybody has their comment. But the reality is, or rifles, it used to be really big arguments, AK versus AR. That's kind of gone away. It looks like Americans are kind of sliding into the AR side. It's because AKs went up in price and ARs came down after the initial bump, whatever. Standardization. It's important to be standardized as a group, when we're going to the range on a weekend and we're all shooting and I need to reload ammo, that's easy. I can just reload. Or if my weapon breaks, I can either go get another one out of the trunk or, just fix it the next week and come back again and shoot. But when we have these things, when we're using these things like they're intended in a violent situation, things don't go like you think they will. You may run out of ammo. You may need an extra magazine, and you want your buddy to throw you a magazine. It would be really nice if that magazine fit your weapon, right? Radios. Talk to gearhead radio guys, and they all have their favorite radio. Hey, as long as they all talk on the same freak, I guess that's okay. But if you have people who are really good, it would be nice to have spare parts. And so if we have 15 of the same radio and one of them breaks, we can at least cannibalize it and use it to fix other radios. Vehicles, the same thing. Having vehicles where we have standardized tools, standardized parts, we know how to fix them. So when I know how to pull the tranny out of this one, I can do it out of that one. Things like that. It just makes life easier as a group. But like I said, one of our strengths as Americans is also our weakness, and that is our sense of individualism, right? And there's some pride involved there. When you join a group, whatever kind of group that is, you're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to compromise, but the compromise is for the greater good, and it's for your better good, overall good. I mean, we can start talking about tribes again, and I'll probably shoot a video on that here directly. But you have to give some things up in order to participate, to enjoy the benefits of the larger group. And so I encourage you all to start thinking about standardization. And let me give you some concrete examples that you can work with. I really wish, when I became a young man, I joined the military, I had my first real paycheck forever. I was married, no kids, so I had a lot of disposable income. And I started buying firearms, right? I bought this one, and I bought that one, and I bought this one, and I bought that one. Looking back all those years ago, I really wish I'd standardize on just a few, at least, calibers, Let's pick a couple rifle calibers, a couple pistol calibers, and stop there, because it really doesn't do good to have all these different weapons that take all this different ammo. And so as a family, I encourage you to think about those things. If you've got every member in your family has a handgun, one, it should at least be the same caliber, and two, I really recommend it be the same weapon, at least the same weapons family. You know, example, well, I shoot a 45, but my little old lady, she can only handle a 380. You know, my wife shot a 45 for years. Anyone can be trained to shoot anything. But there are realities of small people, small stature, small hands. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, the 45 guy going down to 9 mil and the 380 person coming up to 9 mil. Something like that. That's just an example, right? You don't have to go off on a tangent on that. But definitely standardizing in a group is important. And so somebody's going to have to give. And this is probably a group decision. You know, there's 6 guys in the group, and 3 of them have ARs, and 1 of them has an AK, and 2 of them have FNs. You know, what are we going to do? Hey, this isn't like the video games and some of those silly books I used to read where we designed the perfect squad, man, and our point man's carrying a shotgun, and we've got 2 guys with sniper rifles, and 1 guy's got an AR, and 1 guy's got an AK, and no, dude, really? Everybody should pretty much have the same thing except for special weapons. That's just a military thing. What about vehicles? It would be good if you're contemplating getting another vehicle that you get one the same as your buddies or your teammates or your wife or daughter. I always think it's cool, and I guess they have more money than me, or more debt. The parking lots, the driveways that I drive by, and I see 2 of the exact same car. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty smart. You know, his and hers cars, it's the same car. Looking back on that, I think I wish I'd done that. I don't have 2 of the same car. There aren't 2 of the same vehicles on Shofar Mountain with everybody. But, you know, thinking about it, that might be something you want to consider. Having commonality of parts, tools, manuals, knowing how to change this widget on this car and being able to swap them and that kind of thing, that's something to think about. What about standardization of placement? There used to be a thing when I was in the infantry, you know, everything had a place on your LBE, your load-bearing equipment, right? And you had to have your flashlight here and your first aid pouch here turned upside down so it could come out quickly, and 2 ammo pouches and your, you know, canteens and yada, yada, yada. But the reality is when a soldier falls down, you know, because the thought process was, well, if somebody's down, I can at least know exactly where to go to get the ammo or the first aid kit or whatever, so, you know, I can use it and it can be quick and save seconds, and seconds save lives. But the reality is when a man falls down in the woods because he's been shot or injured or whatever, and he's laying there in a pile and his LCE's all over him, you just got to find out where it is by feel anyway. So it really doesn't matter where you put stuff within reason on your body. That's kind of up to the operator. But having the same stuff is important. You know, we want to make sure everybody's got a blowout kit, everybody's got water, everybody's got this, that, and the other thing. That's important. But what about vehicles? You should keep stuff in all your vehicles in the same place. Example, we keep duct tape underneath our driver's seat in the vehicle. We keep electrical tape in the glove box. We keep a little owie kit, little Band-Aid kit in the glove box of every vehicle. If you're going to be starting to run trauma kits and first aid kits, it might be a good idea to decide as a group we're going to put them all in the same place in every vehicle so we know where they are. Right, so that when there is a hurry, it's like, hey, get me the trauma kit, I need it right now, and get over here. They know where to go, and they're not looking all over the vehicle for it. I used to work on a volunteer fire department, and they were forever changing where they put stuff in the truck. And so you get to a crash scene, and you open up this door, and it's not in there anymore. And you open up this door, and it's not in there anymore. And it takes forever, and it's ridiculous. There should be standardization. Standardization on what you wear. And I'm talking, you know, post-TEOTWAWKI, WROL, life is not as we know it. If all your people are dressed the same, that sends a message to other people you interact with. You know, if everyone has, and I'm not saying you have to be in multicam, you know, but if everybody's wearing, like, you know, a pair of cargo pants and the same gray shirt and a black ball cap and, you know, they have a rifle or something, it's like, they're organized. We're not. Maybe we should not cause trouble. You know, it could be something as simple as that. And then, you know, what Sun Tzu say, the best fight's the one you avoid fighting. Something like that. So yeah, I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but try to start thinking about standardizing. Standardized calibers, standardized weapons, standardized placement of stuff, standardized vehicles. Start standardizing. It'll make your group, your team, whether that's just your family or it's a 8-family group, it'll make it better the more you can standardize things. There's still room for individuality, but I really think that some of us need to compromise a little bit for the greater good. All right, hey, I'm interested in your comments on this because we're all Americans and we all think like we do. All right, hey, I'll see you out there.